the impact on individuals who live in small spaces and cannot isolate very well. It also highlights that in certain zip codes, such as 94603 and 94621, it has a high testing rate of positivity for COVID. It also has illuminated the lack of transparency with our governmental officials who have placed the home base and other interventional.
Muted. She's muted.
Marcy, you're muted.
Okay. Well, as I said, that it has illuminated and housing crisis. It has also illuminated the health disparities with Black and Brown communities within the 94603 and 94621 areas. We see that there is a high rate of testing positive within these communities. We have also identified the interventional services for the home base and the Comfort Inn and the Radisson, where those were preventive measures, but the community was not informed in a way where we can be aware of our surroundings so that we can create some additional preventive methods when we're traversing through these areas where we have these interventional housing and services in different hotels. It has also illuminated the need for permanent supportive housing. Not only that, for the homeless, but also for domestic violence individuals who are housed in homes where it is just an explosive kind of atmosphere. For our kids who aren't able to attend school, it has created additional crises that we must attend to. So it has shown that our cities, our state, and our counties was not fully prepared for a crisis such as this. And so we've got to be prepared for these kind of crises and also give people access so that they can shelter in safe environments. I believe that was it for me.
Thank you, Marcy.
Thank you. Reverend Bob Jackson.
Yes, thank you. Well, the COVID-19 testing has been a real problem for 94621, which is right at District 7 and also District 6. But there's such problems that they know there's a disparity with the people that are coming down positive with the COVID-19, but the testing sites are very, very few. And so I've recently been named to be a part of a committee that's working with Governor Gavin Newsom to bring in $13.5 million so we can increase the testing sites in 94621 for the Black and Brown community, especially because we seem to be the ones who's being hit the hardest with the COVID-19. And so that should be coming up very, very shortly. Also, the fact that we want to provide housing for them. There's a number of vacant hotel rooms, and there's a number of properties we found to be not being utilized to its fullest extent that we're working on trying to develop some of that for not only the homeless people, but also people that are needing to be quarantined and don't have the abilities to do that. So we're working on a number of things, working with Dr. Jeffrey Watson, also with the James Watson Wellness Clinic. We just signed a contract with La Clinica de la Raza to bring the clinic down at 94th and International. And so we are moving to try to do all we can to deal with this COVID-19, deal with it as far as people coming down with it. What do you do if you do come down with it? How do we make sure that you don't continue to spread it? We've been doing the mask videos and getting people to wear their masks. So we're working on this thing around the clock, trying our best to save the lives of Black and Brown people who's coming down with COVID-19.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
With an alarming rate. Thank you.
Thank you. Please describe an economic plan to clean up International Boulevard, San Leandro Boulevard, reducing the amount of car shops and liquor stores, replacing them with banks, grocery stores such as Safeways, Lucky's, Grocery Outlet, clothing shops, and dine-in restaurants such as Olive Garden, Chili's, or Texas Roadhouse. We are aware that you need a certain adjusted gross income to attract such businesses. How would you accomplish this goal, and do you share this vision? Marcy Hodge.
Yes, well, I would want our lobbyists to first lobby for more federal funding for the cleanup of our areas and specifically for the encampments that are around. And part of that would also be used for the cleanup of those areas, San Leandro Boulevard, and I believe it was International, I believe. But that would also include MacArthur as well. So we have a lot of areas that have to be clean in order for businesses to be open and willing to come into those areas. So federal funding, state funding, and also identifying funds that are not being used at this time because of COVID that maybe we can leverage for those cleanups. I would also like to point out that these are areas in which, because of the deterioration, it most embattles our seniors from traversing back and forth to meet their needs, whether that's banking or the grocery store. The car lots, we need to, and repair shops. I would like to see something where we can zone for particular areas. There's a car lot and repair shop near my group home on 66, and it takes away a lot of parking spaces and creates a lot of different challenges for us on that neighborhood street. And so there's an opportunity for us to begin to look at areas, if we're redeveloping the Coliseum area, to see if we can create some type of business opportunities. Do I have another?
Thank you so much. Aaron Clay.
Yes, thank you. So in my career, what I've done is work with communities to develop economic development projects. That's what I have done all throughout my career, is help provide to strengthen our community. And economic development, everybody needs a job. And that's one of the biggest issues with District 7, is that we don't have good union livable wage jobs that our current residents can apply for, can get trained for, and can provide for their family and support their family in the district. And that's what we need. I started a renewable energy company whose sole purpose is to provide benefits to communities. And what we do is we partner with nonprofit organizations and job training programs to try to scale the amount of job training for jobs that have growth potential, the green jobs, the clean tech jobs. Tesla has like 1,000 suppliers. There's no reason that we shouldn't be the ones to have businesses in our district that's already zoned industrial, light industrial for manufacturing, to be providing the supplies and the parts for clean tech companies like Tesla, which is right up the street. But we need somebody with vision who understands economic development. I've worked on multi-million-dollar projects representing cities and counties to do this type of work. And I think that's what we need, and that's what we don't have. And we have to support our small businesses. Small businesses are the way to create generational wealth. And we as a city have not done a very good job. And that's once again, especially been highlighted during COVID, of really supporting our small businesses. The BRT line, the bus line down East 14th, combined with quarantine and COVID, has really shut down it's expected about 50% of our Black and brown businesses by the end of the year, because we were not supported by our city. People couldn't get to the businesses, and the city didn't provide the resources to help them through this time. We know our Black and brown businesses don't have the same type of reserves as larger other businesses. So we really have to change that mindset and support businesses and bring in businesses that have growth potential. Thank you.
Thank you. Bob Jackson, Reverend Bob Jackson.
Yes, can I have the question again, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Please describe an economic plan to clean up International Boulevard and San Leandro Boulevard, reducing the number of car shops and liquor stores, replacing them with banks, a grocery store such as Safeway, Lucky's, a grocery outlet, clothes, shopping, and dine-in restaurants such as Olive Garden, Chili's, or a Texas Roadhouse. We are aware that there is a certain adjusted gross income to attract certain businesses. How would you accomplish this goal, and do you share this vision?
Oh, thank you. Wow. Oh, I certainly share the vision because, like I said, 19 years ago, I founded the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce for the very reason to get African American businesses up and running, and working with training them on how to be entrepreneurs and successful entrepreneurs. And now we're working with the Latino Chamber of Commerce as well with the problems that we've been having for too long with District 7. And I also like to say that tomorrow morning we'll be going out with a number of men from the Men of Valor, which is part of their training there to clean up San Leandro Boulevard there between, I think it's right between 90th and 82nd, I believe. That's just horrible out there. I was out there today. And so we will be out there tomorrow cleaning that up with about 25 men from the Men of Valor. We've already cleaned MacArthur and we've cleaned Bancroft. And so we've been doing that for a number of years. We just don't do that now. We've been doing it. And also I'm working out something where we're able to pay the men some money. And I'm trying to move that to the homeless people so they can take part in helping to clean up those areas. And we would supplement their living, their livelihood by giving them some kind of stipends for helping to clean up the areas. And I just think that we can put them to work. They can take more pride in the community. It's all about getting the community to work together. And that's why my main focus for running for City Council, District 7, is to put neighbor back in hood. Too long we've been known as a hood. We're going to be known as a neighborhood. And we're going to work together to abate the problems that we've been dealing with for much too long. I can see businesses flourishing. I can see the safety of the community flourishing. I can see people wanting to come to District 7 because it's clean, it's safe, and the people are taking a pride in District 7.
Thank you so much. Please describe 2 projects that you have completed in District 7 and 2 projects that you plan to accomplish once you are elected. Please do not include any homeless projects or illegal dumping. Reverend Jackson.
Well, two projects that I have completed, again, is 59 units at the corner of 9400. It's 9400 International. That was just a horrible place with a bunch of boarded up, graffiti written, rat infested units that were just terrible, substandard. We bought that block and a half and we built 59 units. So it's standing there now. If you go down there, it's an oasis in the middle of the wilderness. And because of that, we were able to work with the city and with the related company to also get the property across the street, a whole block that we'll be building comparable housing, affordable housing there on that block as well. So those are 2 projects that I've been instrumental in working with. We also were instrumental in working on getting a grant for $28.2 million to build the phonics, the aquaponics operation that'll be on 105th Avenue, the Black Cultural Zone, and also helping with the project putting affordable housing in. Housing is a real problem in District 7 and affordable housing especially. So working with those 2, again, I'm a housing advocate and trying to get, because I think everyone deserves a nice, decent place to live. So that's the 2 of the things I've worked on and completed in District. Oh, signing the La Clinica lease for them to bring the La Clinica de la Raza down to 9400 in the new facility we're building now. Just signed that lease for them to lease that property. So those are my 2 projects that I worked on. Thank you.
Mr. Aaron Clay.
Yes, thank you. So I have been a community attorney, but I've also worked in the schools. And when I say in the schools, I mean, I was a teacher in East Oakland schools, Burkhalter, Grass Valley, Markham. So I really see the lives that our kids lead and know the troubles and the trauma that they go through. And I think that's one of the things that we really need to change. It's the mindset of our community and really gives our kids some hope and opportunity. And that's what I've been doing, working as a mentor, teaching our kids and I only got into schools because I know that, especially in East Oakland, we don't have Black teachers in our schools, and they need to see somebody like me, like other Black teachers. And I would encourage more Black teachers to come to Oakland to work in their own community, but we have to, as a city, support them in doing that, making sure that they can buy houses, making sure our community people can stay here in the community. The other thing, I also am sitting on the board of Youth Uprising, helping scale Youth Uprising so that we can do more youth development. I mean, the kids, I know kids that are homeless right now. I taught kids that are homeless right now, and I know kids right now that are living in cars. And we have to change this mindset. We have to change how the city treats us, especially people in District 7, because there's no other place like East Oakland, and we deserve much more respect. We deserve much more resources, and we deserve much more services. And so I would, once again, do the things that I've already done, work on developing jobs that people here can train for and can have and support a family in a green economy. And I've done that all over the nation and won global and national awards for that type of work. And I would also increase the housing. That's the work I've done, is helping people stay in their housing. The way we stop homelessness is first we have to keep them in their homes. And I've done work like that as volunteer attorney. I've fought evictions, foreclosures, mediations. I've started community legal clinics for people who can afford attorneys. And so we have to provide housing and jobs.
Thank you. Marcy Hodge.
Yes, most significantly and proudly, as a business owner here in East Oakland, I have had the opportunity to open one business where we work with your most vulnerable population, developmentally disabled, and we initially began working with juvenile hall kids. And most significantly, opening up a second business where we will be working with crisis in terms of crisis stabilization for mental health. That has given me the opportunity to leverage that business to hire individuals who live in East Oakland, specifically African American and Latino males who do not have any work experience most times, and who need the kind of experience so that they can stabilize themselves and begin to go branch out and start their own families. I have been proud of that. I've been able to essentially assist in helping to teach people how to fish so that they can go out on their own and begin fishing. Through our program, we have also assisted in helping individuals who have been incarcerated get their prints cleared by working with my business. It takes many times 6 months to a year to get their prints cleared. But once they're able to get cleared and work for me and build some job experience, they're able to not have to deal with that roadblock if they're applying for jobs that require fingerprint clearance. So I'm very proud of that. As Peralta trustee for 8 years, I did see the community colleges, all four, Laney, Merritt, Berkeley City College, and Alameda expanded, as well as the new Berkeley City College. So those are efforts that on the ground have helped and supported many young people here in East Oakland, as well as those who are just coming out from incarceration, who are able to access programs at the community college and to extend themselves to help to stabilize our community and themselves.
Thank you very much. And the last and final question for the District 7 Council is: illegal dumping is horrendous throughout Oakland. What is your plan and what have you done to deter this public health and safety crime against our community? Aaron Clay.
Illegal dumping, first, we have to start engaging our community. Sort of the basic tenet of my platform is that we have ignored our community. We've ignored the words, the wishes, the desires, the needs, the vision of the people who are here now. And that's what we have to change. People come from other places and dump here because they don't see that. They feel like, if we don't care, why should somebody else? And it's not that our current residents don't care, it's that the city hasn't done enough to really deal with the illegal dumping until lately. I see that they've cleaned up right next door, the old churches right next door to Foothill Square. But I think that was because, we've been talking about it, all of the candidates, we've been talking about it, and they just put up a fence. But before that, it had been open there for months. And that's just unacceptable. I talked to a lady at the Hispanic church over on MacArthur, and they have an abandoned car in front of their church, and they clean up their church every day. There are things we need to change. One of them is abandoned car still falls under the police. And I don't know why we need somebody with a gun to tow an abandoned car that doesn't have a wheel or has windows broken out and people are throwing garbage in there. So that should be taken out of the police budget, and somebody else should be doing that who can do that with some urgency, whether it be a third party or public works. We need to clean up the median of East 14th and all our main areas. I mean, when you go to other parts of the city, they look very nice, and you can tell that money has been invested in it, and we don't see that in our community, and we have to change that now so that people feel respected and know that they're being heard, and because we deserve a better community than what it looks like right now. Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much. Marcy Hodge.
Yes, over the years, as a business owner and also my mother as a pastor in East Oakland, we have gone down to the council meetings because we've not been able to get any type of response from our current person. My mother has, in many cases, have had to reach out during that period of time when Desley was in office to try to get support on cleaning up a lot of the trash and areas that were dumped. Since I ran for office for this seat 4 years ago, we have just seen a total increase of the blight, of cars abandoned, of just recklessness and deterioration within District 7. So it's been a challenge that I have certainly dealt with over the years. Certainly as a Peralta Community College trustee, it was, again, another issue that we worked to fight just in trying to partner with programs on cleaning up a lot of the blight in some of the areas. I have also worked with local neighbors in around the 66 area, as well as here on 102nd, to work to try to get the blight cleaned up and dumping. Also the school district, not the school, but the school, Stonehurst here, many of the teachers, when they were in session, we were right on the money with calling immediately to get a lot of the trash and this area cleaned up. For instance, we called for a lot of the dumping about 2 weeks ago. They came and cleaned it up last week. Someone came that night and dumped more trash. So it's an ongoing issue where we have to put those cameras up.
Thank you very much. And Reverend Bob Jackson.
Thank you. Well, this has been a problem that we've been dealing with for quite a while. And again, I'm thankful for the Men of Valor Academy, which I started 30 years ago and still run. And we have about 75 men that are coming out of incarceration, pretty much with nowhere to go. And so we have housing for them. We take care of them. We give them the tools that they need to become successful, but we also teach them how to work. And so they've been working, volunteering, cleaning up the streets. As I mentioned, Bancroft, we did MacArthur. We did that Church's Chicken up there, by the way, Aaron. And we work in San Leandro tomorrow. So we've been working, cleaning up the community for a long time. And I pay those men stipends, but teaching them how to work at the same time. Also, I'm noticing the community now is taking pride. Once we clean the streets up, they've been maintaining them a lot longer than what they were before. And I think with the influx of people helping to clean the community, getting the homeless in on it again, giving them stipends, we can have the community working together along with the residents to help keep our neighborhood clean. The other thing is, and I know people hate for me to say it, but we need to catch these guys that's doing it. A lot of people see these guys, they're not doing anything about it, and some of them are just blatant. They do it right in broad daylight. We need to make sure that the fines that they give, and I even want to move to take the truck. Take the truck for 2 weeks, take the truck for a month. I guarantee, I know I'm gonna get mail, but you need some teeth and some action that's gonna get it done. You take that truck, I guarantee you that dumping will start. When the word gets out, you dump in District 7, we're gonna take your truck. I guarantee you it's gonna stop real quick. Don't write me.
Thank you very much. This concludes the forum tonight for the Oakland District 7 City Council candidates. Please proceed with your closing statement. Aaron Clay.
Thank you. My name is Aaron Clay. I'm running for Oakland City Council. And the reason I'm running is because I've done a lot of the work that needs to be done that hasn't been done in District 7. Creating housing, I've done that. Providing jobs, creating a real economic job base, I've done that. Supported our youth, I've done that. And so my vision is to engage our community to reimagine what they want for themselves, for ourselves, for their families now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and then let's begin to create that vision, that reality for our community. And I don't think that's what's been done. We haven't created a real vision and had somebody who has had the technical expertise and the experience to execute that vision. I know the condition of District 7. I know my friends call me, tell me they can't bike with their kids because of the dumping in trash. I taught at an elementary school where people living in their cars next to the playground, kids say, Mr. Clay, why is that lady changing her clothes in the car? And District 7 needs someone just not to say, this is just wrong and we need change. We need someone who has the vision, the experience, and the courage to really start to bring some wins now and to change the mindset, create a vision and execute that vision so we can have a community that we want to live in, that we want our kids to live in, that we can stay in, that we can afford, and we can work in with good, livable, sustaining jobs. So I'm the progressive candidate who can do that, who can create that change by focusing on housing for all our residents, creating a local economic job base, youth development, and community health. So I ask for your support for Oakland City Council for District 7. Thank you very much. We are much better together, and we just need to create that vision.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms.
Marcy Hodge.
Thank you once again. I would hope that my commitment to the city of Oakland, my story of being a lifelong resident, never leaving, staying here in East Oakland, regardless of how bad it has gotten, opening up businesses here in some of the toughest neighborhoods that we have in the city of Oakland. I am committed to seeing Oakland thrive. It's why I ran for city council for this district 4 years ago, and it's why I am back again, voicing the concern that many of us have had for many years. I knew that it was time for Larry Reed to go 4 years ago. I did not support his campaign. We realize now that many of the problems that have been masked are now being unmasked, and they are untenable. We have a situation of District 7 that is deteriorating. We have been bought and sold enough. We now look at the Coliseum that is being, that potentially can be sold. I would invite you to the protest at Larry Reed's home by the Oakland East Bay Democratic Club on Friday at 6 p.m. Please come out, Google and look for their flyer for the information. Show your face. We cannot afford to allow that piece of land to be sold to the Fisher family. If it is sold, it will kill the opportunity for its current residents to remain here, and for what has been somewhat affordable for many of us, it will become totally unaffordable, and we cannot stand by and allow that sale to happen. We know what unresponsive leadership has led us into, a fully unadulterated prostitution of District 7, and we cannot allow it to go any further. I am your candidate, Marcy Hodge.
Thank you. Reverend Bob Jackson.
Thank you. I'm Bishop Robert Bob Jackson, and I'm running for city councilman for District 7 because I believe I bring achievements and accomplishments for 36 years, again, in this city, working exclusively with District 7 and parts of District 6. The other thing is I plan to bring information from City Hall to District 7. We never even know what's going on with District 7 until after it's too late. By the time we get the information, it's already being done. Our streets are being changed. Things are happening we don't know anything about. I plan on stopping it. You'll know everything that's going on with District 7, everything they're doing in the back rooms concerning District 7. I will make that public information for all of you. Also, the resources that you deserve, District 7, because you pay taxes and you should have a right to have the kind of things that the rest of the districts enjoy, we should enjoy the same thing. We pay taxes too, and we pay a lot of taxes in this city. I plan on making sure we're not having taxation without representation. I'm not a politician. My name should have been Frank, because I promise you I'm going to be as honest as I can, and it's going to be leadership I'm providing that you can trust in City Hall. But we're going to make a difference in District 7, and I'm the one to be able to do it. Thank you so much for your support.
And thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Patricia, gonna say something really quick before they leave our meeting.
Yeah.
We want to bring you all back so Ms. Green can speak to all of you guys. We did listen to your statements and your questions being answered, but I would have loved for her to answer and ask questions for you as well. So can you please schedule yourselves for the 15th? I will have Ms. Green here to ask her questions, because she is a staple of our community. She holds our community together, and I would love for her to be asking those questions next time. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And
Thank you, guys.
the council at large. Okay. Is everyone here? Rebecca Kaplan? Yes. Hi.
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
And Nancy?
I'm here.
Hi.
Hi.
Derek Johnson?
I'm here. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening. Okay. First question is, please describe your view of the sale of the Coliseum to the Oakland A's. Also,
Hold on, Patricia. One moment. We need to give them time for their opening statement, if you don't mind, Patricia.
oh, yes,
Thank you so much.
yes. Rebecca Kaplan?
Hi there. Good evening, everybody, and it's a pleasure to be with you. I hope you're all doing well. Remember to drink a lot of water. It was very hot today. We need to help keep our community healthy. My name is Rebecca Kaplan, and I'm very honored to serve as your Oakland City Council member at large. So I represent the entire city of Oakland, and last year I was unanimously elected council president by my colleagues on the city council. Some of the specific things I've been working on recently include opening of safe, clean air centers on bad air days to protect our community, advocating for the installation of ongoing air filtration and mitigations for the hardest hit, most heavily polluted areas and in our senior centers to protect our community. Working to get safe voting centers open this election. And I'm so pleased today to be able to share that we successfully got the Coliseum and Arena site to be a site that will be open for early voting and safe distanced outdoor ballot drop-off at the Coliseum site in Oakland. So that's one of the things that we will be opening, as well as fighting for more steps to house the homeless in compassionate and effective ways, which I will be happy to add more on. I'm honored to be with you, and I'd be happy to answer your questions. I'm honored to be endorsed by the Democratic Party, Pastor J. Alfred Smith Sr., the John George Democratic Club, our nurses, our firefighters, and many others. And thank you for having me here this evening.
Thank you very much. Nancy Seidenbach-Bachton.
Thank you. I'm Nancy Sidebotham. I'm running for at large. I have run before for District 6 for mayor and at large in the past. And I run because I love this city and because people need to know the truth and what's really going on in the city and not just listen to a lot of fluff without facts. Having lived in East Oakland and in the Millsmont area since 1980, I've been very involved with my community and East Oakland. I moved here in 1964. I went to Merritt College on Old Grove Street. I went to Cal State Hayward, and I have, my whole life has been in Oakland. and I've done many things and known many, many people, and all of us have worked together to try to bring changes. And the unfortunate thing, Oakland has been going downhill, and East Oakland has been suffering a lot because East Oakland has been the forgotten part of the city, and what I also call the dumping ground for vestibular change, and that's something that I've been fighting for years to bring about. Do I care where the representation is going? I sure do. We've had a person at large that does not work with the individual council members in the district or come out to the community and work with the community only unless something comes up in the news, and then that person shows up and then disappears the next day and still nothing changes. We need to make change in Oakland. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Derek Johnson, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Johnson Jackson is close. All right. Good evening, everybody. I'm honored to be here tonight. These are some uniquely challenging times, and people are scared. People are out of work, sick, and dying. At the same time, we've been given this historic chance to finally get closer to achieving our true racial and social justice for all. I'm running for Oakland City Council at large because I believe this unique moment demands a different kind of leader. I believe we need a council member at large who understands the struggles of the most vulnerable in our community, has a proven ability to transform lives for those who need it most, and who's ready to help lead Oakland's recovery and then tackle the many challenges that have been facing our community for far too long. I was raised in the West Oakland Acorn housing projects by a single mom who worked 3 jobs just so I could make it. I saw people rise from poverty and make it in the most inspiring ways and fall in the most tragic. Thanks to a strong extended family, I was able to attend college and HBCU, Fisk University, and then come back to my hometown, eager to make a difference for the community who made me who I am. Opened the Home of Chicken and Waffles restaurant in Oakland's Jack London Square. It would become a pillar of this community. While I've created jobs for hundreds of Oaklanders over the years, I'm most proud of the fact that up to 70% of my employees at one time or another are formerly incarcerated people, folks who nobody have given a second chance, really a first chance to before. And I find nothing more rewarding and inspiring than helping someone turn their life around. I've also served Oakland from many perspectives, helping nonprofits, foundations, and the city itself reduce violence, implement job training programs, and provide educational opportunity for low-income youth. I was honored to receive the city's humanitarian award for this work. Now I'm ready to go to City Hall and help lead COVID-19 recovery that leaves nobody behind. And I'm ready to move us forward on racial, social, and environmental justice. I'm honored to be endorsed by the next Vice President of the United States, our homegirl, Senator Kamala Harris, Assemblymember Buffy Wicks, Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf, State Board of Equalization Malia Cohen, Stockton Mayor Mayor Tubbs, BART Board President Latifah Simon, and many faith-based and community leaders in the city. Thank you so much for having me this evening.
Thank you very much. I forgot to cover some of the housekeeping rules. So just as a reminder, each candidate has 1 minute to answer each question, and each candidate has 1.5 minutes for their closing statement. Okay, the first question is, please describe your view of the sale of the Coliseum to the Oakland A's. Also, once the sale is complete, how would you ensure that the monies from the sale stays in District 7? And how would you use the funds? How would you spend the funds in District 7? Rebecca Kaplan.
I'm sorry, can I step in for a second? Patricia,
Yeah.
this is Oakland City Council at large, so the question will be addressing how would you spend the money into Oakland as a whole. Thank you.
Okay, and I'm sorry, what order do you want us going in this round?
Patricia?
Rebecca Kaplan.
Cool, awesome. Thank you so much. Yes, I think it is absolutely important that any sale or lease or development deal for the Coliseum must be done in a way that directly benefits the community, and that includes specifically must benefit the East Oakland community around it. So even though you've invited us to talk about the whole city, and of course the project will benefit the whole city because it'll bring in vitality and jobs and sales tax revenue, it is important that we make the extra effort to commit support to the local community that has been overly disregarded. And so I would want to see in it, and frankly, whether it's the A's or somebody else, I would want to see included a requirement for local hire that gives priority not just for Oakland residents, but for residents of the immediate geographic area around the Coliseum. I would want to see specific work on business utilization. So not just hiring for the jobs, but who gets the contracts, who gets to come in as catering or stationary sales or the lawyer or the architect, that we look to people in East Oakland to get first opportunity for those businesses, and also make sure that we're enforcing the racial equity of the businesses. We have a pending disparity study in Oakland that underlines some real racial inequities in city contracting. So we need to ensure that as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Derek Johnson.
Yes, I think it's very important. The Coliseum is a jewel of our city. It was actually my first job. I was a Red Coda usher at the Coliseum. And we need to make sure that the county's portion is rescinded and they do not go ahead with the sale on their end, and make sure that the city on their end, either it should be open for public for bid. We need to get the highest market rate available for that property, and $170 million when you combine the city and the county's portion is just really way under market value. How do we make sure that East Oakland and the entire city benefits from this? Well, we have a CBA, and we've had CBAs, community benefit agreements, but we do not hold these developers responsible to make sure that what's in the CBA actually comes to fruition. It's just the tale of our city. You know, we need to make sure that we build affordable housing, low-income housing, low-income housing, and that we address the needs of our business community and provide jobs, especially for D7, D6, and D3 residents are the most vulnerable in our city, and make sure that the community benefit agreement is beneficial for not only D7, but also provide services, environmental impact, and social services throughout our entire city. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nancy.
Thank you. You know, I've been thinking a lot about this, and it is the largest piece of property owned by the city of Oakland and the county, and we should not be selling it at all. We should be leasing it if that's the case. The Coliseum should not be moved from there because it is a major job source for East Oakland. And if anything, lease the property out, control the property out. We're in a whole new world right now, and the population is going to continue to grow, and the infrastructure is deteriorating and stuff. And we cannot sit there and sell the vital portions of what belongs to Oakland, and then turn around and hit private property owners and hit them with fees and taxes and stuff because you want them to use their properties for what the city should be doing with the properties they own. So these are the things that need to be looked at. I think it is wrong to even consider that. I think if it's going to be sold, it needs to be open bid. The money that they're selling it for is way too low. And the fact that the A's are the ones that have been pushing the sale and nobody else has been asked to speak up, that is something that needs to be looked into. East Oakland is against this sale, and a lot of people in West Oakland are against anybody coming to Howard Terminal. So this is something that we need to address, and the community needs to stay involved. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next question. Illegal dumping is horrendous throughout Oakland. What is your plan? And what have you done to deter this public health and safety crime against Oakland? First, let's go with Derek Johnson.
Okay. As I drive down San Leandro Boulevard, as I went to 101st and 102nd yesterday on a Sunday by Stonehurst Elementary School, and saw the amount of lead paint, feces, urine, and the amount of dumping that is going on in our East Oakland corridor, I really asked myself, what has the current city council, and especially the incumbent who is representing the entire city, what are they doing? What are they looking at? How does this happen? It's not in Montclair, it's not in Piedmont, it's not in District 1, but it definitely is very prevalent in District 7. What I would like to see is the beautification project that Ken Houston is actually working on. Frankly, we need, as a city, we need to fund that. I know the county has got funding. He's been hired by the county to go out and tag garbage and make sure that they go through the garbage and find any letters or addresses, and then go knock on the door and make sure if there's any toxics or toxic chemicals, that then they send enforcement out. I think that's an excellent idea, but we need to ramp that up and really align ourselves with this type of partnership with organizations like this and get our community back. There's no hope. And just like Bishop Jackson said earlier, when you clean, people take more pride. And we can do several things. We can have stipends for high school students to go out and clean. We can have the homeless, give them check in, and they can check in, check out some garbage cans and go get recyclables. And that's a way for them to earn money. But we have to do something. And right now, and for the past years, nothing has been done. The problem is just getting worse and worse.
Thank you very much. Rebecca Kaplan.
Yes, I think in order to solve the problem, we have to be willing to be honest about the diagnosis. And one of the methods that the Oakland administration has been using for the last several years to decide where to pick up illegal dumping and where not to pick up illegal dumping is what they call a complaint-based system. And so what happens is neighborhoods compete for who can complain the most. And communities that have more wealth and more access to internet, especially now that people are told to do it on See, Click, Fix, people who have the app are supposed to see who can get the response that way. And so one of the things that I, together with community, propose is that we needed proactive zone-based illegal dumping remediation that would go out to designated areas, because we don't need to wait for people to call it in. We already know where it is. It's in the same places over and over and over again. So there needs to be proactive enforcement. We also added money to the budget for cameras and authorized the launch of a reward program and fines for illegal dumping. But that full implementation of the zone-based dumping hasn't yet been completed, even though the council voted to direct that it be done. And so I would invite all of you, including my fellow candidates, to join us in insisting that that be implemented. It's been voted for. It was included in the budget that we proposed, and they need to be going zone-based and not waiting for oh, okay, was that the time? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Nancy.
Thank you. Illegal dumping's been going on for years, and the council in the past has passed ordinances and laws saying that we're going to hire people to go out there and check for addresses and where they think the dumping came from, et cetera. And as soon as they pass that, guess what? Those people are never hired, and the city collects the money from the property owners and continues to collect it. So talking about putting this out there, I remember, 3 or 4 years ago, they went down to one truck for picking up illegal dumping, and the community went ballistic about that. So they ended up putting a couple of trucks on to do this. We should have an illegal dumping crew in each of the districts, period. And they know where the locations are. This is not just something that's overnight. And the problem with the illegal dumping is that if it happens and I clean up tonight and it's all cleaned up tomorrow, somebody else is going to dump there in the same location because it's consistent. They know where they can get away with it. I actually chased somebody that illegally dumped over on Mountain Boulevard all the way to West Oakland after they came out here and dumped. So this is something that has been ongoing. People come here from Richmond to dump. They come up here from Hayward to dump because they know they can get away with it because we don't have the staffing or the crews out there to watch and take care of. And a lot of the dumping is not done in front of people's houses. They're done around the corner where it's dark or it's under the freeway ramp, so where people don't see it until after the fact. And when people do see it, they do take the information down, but then there's no follow-up because we don't have the people doing the job anymore in Oakland. That's part of the problem. And if I get on council, that is one of the things I'm going to make sure that we do, is that we have a crew in each of the districts to start cleaning up this mess. This is not something that can just be relied on a 1 or 2 crews to do this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next question. District 7 is ground zero for the COVID-19 virus and has been designated for the at-risk individuals with the COVID-19 virus. Hotels has been designated along with public land, the old home-based lot. The community has been underserved for decades, and now this. What are your thoughts? Nancy?
Okay. when this first started, my first upset was that there was nobody out here in East Oakland looking to see how they could help the community and educate them on what needed to be done. That was the first problem. And then all of a sudden they started opening up a couple of locations that were hard to get to for a lot of people. And I blasted it out all over the place on Nextdoor and on the listservs in the area so that people had some place to go so they could get tested. We have an area that people seem to want to forget about. And we don't have a voice out here that's been able to speak up about it. And when we had our council person, our past council person on here, that council person spoke up and brought attention to here in East Oakland. And since that person has left, we're back to doing business as usual, which is being ignored. And that needs to change. When it comes to locations and where people are being housed and stuff and the lots being used, we also need to be very careful that education is part of the source of how things are taken care of. And now they are opening more locations and stuff. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Rebecca Kaplan.
Thank you. It is absolutely essential to provide resources in East Oakland for the community in East Oakland, and to recognize that it's not fair to keep perpetuating the overconcentration. And so that's part of why I worked with my colleagues to fight for Oakland to buy an unused dorm in Rockridge to house the homeless, because the solutions need to be everywhere, and every part of the city has an obligation to be part of the solution. We've also been fighting for services in East Oakland to serve the community, including funding healthy corner store conversions, including calling the county and pressuring them to open the testing centers in East Oakland when they weren't doing that, and partnering with Allen Temple Baptist Church and others to fight to get those open. And it includes the money we fought for and won in the budget to work directly with our chambers of commerce, including the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce, where we provided funding directly from the council to the chambers to support the small local businesses. And we've also put funding aside for the East 14th Street International Corridor to do additional supports there as well. But I also recognize that the COVID crisis merely reinforces a pre-existing healthcare disparity crisis, and will continue to push for greater access to healthcare even beyond COVID. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Derek Johnson.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue that we have here is the messaging and how we reach our community, how we reach those like myself, Black and brown people. You know, I'm a Black man from a vulnerable community. I'm from the projects of Oakland. And we listen to people that look like us. So what I would do if I was in this seat, I would really urge that we partner and retain Carol H. Williams, who's a Black woman, an advertising agency, has one of the largest advertising agencies based right here in Oakland. And she reach out to Kamala, to athletes, to business people that have a national imprint and influence, but are from Oakland. Do you know how many individuals that have a national and global image that are from Oakland? And we really need to get their messaging directly to our youth. They are not social distancing, they are not wearing masks, and it is spreading at a very high rate in our communities. It is affecting Black and brown people the most. Second, testing centers. I would make sure that we have testing centers that are available and readily to everyone. Not only driving in, but what about for the elderly? We need to have mobile testing centers. We need to be doing more. We also need to make sure that when we are sending out the message, that the message goes directly to those that need them. Billboards, radio. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please describe an economic plan to clean up International Boulevard and San Leandro Boulevard, reducing car shops, liquor stores, replacing them with banks, grocery stores such as Safeway, Lucky's, or a grocery outlet, clothing shops, and dine-in restaurants such as Olive Garden, Chili's, Texas Roadhouse, or a Chicken and Waffles.
I was just about to say, I didn't heard you say that Texas Roadhouse and Chili's. Like, wait a minute. It's all good.
And we are aware that there takes a certain adjusted gross income to attract these businesses. How would you accomplish this goal, and do you share this vision? Let's start with Derek Johnson.
I absolutely share this vision. Carolyn Johnson, who's the executive director for the Black Cultural Zone, I actually referred her for that job. When Carolyn called me and said that this position was open and she wanted it, and she was interviewing with Gloria Cox Corwell, I said, oh my God, Gloria and I went to high school together. We're very good friends. That's the kind of connections and that's the kind of relationships that you need to be in this office. You need to be connected and engaged in the city, and you need to make sure that you understand really how business works, and not just from a policy or an ideology standpoint, but from real life experience. How would you make this work? Easy. First, you go to people like myself, local businesses, and you create a business corridor. It only takes 1 or 2 or 3 of us. I've already identified with Carolyn 2 other business owners like myself that would put their businesses in that Black cultural zone just to spark and ignite the development. Because once you have trust and believe, once you have a business corridor and business is thriving and you see businesses like myself doing well, others will come. You know, that's the law of nature. That's number 1. Number 2, to clean up the corridor. Why hasn't the city, you know, just allocated the money to do it? San Jose just allocated $3 million for illegal dumping and to clean up corridors where there's just a lot of trash. Why haven't we done this? We're always talking about what we're gonna do or what we did, but what you did or what has been done, how does it impact our community? And if you've been in this office for 12 years and you see that what you've created and policy that you've written aren't working for our community, then you need to revise that and go back and do something that does. Because right now, illegal dumping and D7 and D6 are very, 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 let me put an exclamation mark on that, very underserved, very undeveloped, and no one has paid attention to it. And it's about time someone does. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nancy?
Yes. This is something that concerns all of us that live here. The perfect example is Seminary and Foothill. Walgreens went in there, and a couple of coffee shops, laundromat, phone store. And 2 weeks before Walgreens opened, it was robbed and cleaned out completely. Oakland's problem is we are a theft-driven city. We have got to change that. Besides the illegal dumping, we have to get and put down and get jobs in Oakland so we can alleviate the crime that is keeping a lot of businesses away from Oakland. Just so you know, Safeway is broken into, and not broken into, is robbed 2 to 3 times a day, where they go in and take shopping carts out with loaded with stuff and they're gone. And Safeway just says, well, our insurance will pay for it, and nobody can take care of that. So these are the things that we need to look at. If anybody remembers Karen's Flowers, Karen tried keeping her store open on MacArthur Boulevard for a number of years and had to move because she couldn't handle the problems that we have out here. So cleaning up BRT, that was a major crazy move that was done on international, and that's caused a lot of problems. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Rebecca Kaplan.
Yes, thank you. And thank you also in your question for pointing out one of the questions about how do you have sufficient population support and how do you have the amenities that the population needs. And one of the things that people have been asking for is how can we have more housing that really serves the community, but have it go in such a way that the resources and the wealth stay in the community. And so I've been working with a coalition of churches and state legislators to pass a law that was passed last month and signed by the governor today that will allow churches to build housing on their lots without a bunch of the barriers that are currently in place and prevent them from being allowed to build housing on their lots. That is one piece of how you get to that level, but that is not enough. We also need to be doing direct attraction supports for needed entities like banks and pharmacies to provide for them to open, including using public land and making those requirements of development deals that they must provide a community serving grocery amenities such as banks and pharmacies and neighborhood groceries in their proposals. We've also been working to support local existing businesses to improve, including the funding we devoted through the Healthy Corner Store project. And I would certainly invite folks to stand with us as we are fighting to push to have that money go out. In fact, that item was at our last council meeting, where the city council as a whole asked the administration to report why they had not given out the money that the council approved months ago for the East Oakland corridor. So I'm sorry if anybody missed the council agenda. It was on the council agenda in June. It did pass. The council did vote to devote that money. And we've had the administrator scheduled to come back on October 20th to explain why it hasn't gone out or to update us that it has gone out by then. So I would encourage you all to join us in demanding that money go to the East Oakland business community like we voted for. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Last question. Please describe 2 projects that you have completed and 2 projects that you plan to accomplish once you are elected. Please do not include any homeless projects or illegal dumping, and please let those be 2 projects that you are most proud of. Nancy.
Okay. Over the years, I've worked on many projects. I've been involved in the politics of Oakland and working in the city and in East Oakland since 1982. I've closed liquor stores, which are a major problem and a source of drug activity and a lot of crime. And I've cleaned up on Bancroft. I've cleaned up on MacArthur. I mean, there's any one thing. I've not been in a position to be a representative with a job in Oakland to say I've done any work, but I've been in the community working on many projects. Right now, one of the things that we're looking at is what's going to happen with the old days hardware. So I'm working very diligently on that. So I can't say, you'd have to look at my record, and it goes back years. I'm constantly doing things throughout the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Rebecca Kaplan.
Yes, thank you very much. So 2 of the projects, one of which I've already mentioned previously tonight, the Healthy Corner Store conversions. There's often a lot of tension with corner stores that sell a lot of junk food, that people feel that you have to either push them out of the community or just put up with the junk food. And instead, we worked with community, with funding that we work with the voters to approve and with the council to make sure went where it was supposed to provide funding so that neighborhood corner stores could add healthy food, could add fridge cases. But then I also want to share another example that implicates why it's important to understand how East Oakland fits in the city as a whole, which is the project to have the new auto row. When there began to be discussion years ago that the part of uptown Oakland that was historically auto row might have a future that was not auto dealerships, some people thought the auto dealerships would then end up just leaving Oakland altogether. But I worked with others to make sure that instead that major tax-paying revenue industry would stay in Oakland and would relocate to East Oakland. And that required multiple projects over multiple years, including sometimes having to negotiate complicated options where somebody who was in uptown in the historical auto row needed to repurpose their land to something else in order to enable this to work effectively. And so we had to put together multiple pieces across multiple parts of the city. But as a result, now the auto dealerships are not gone from Oakland, and that continues to be a source of jobs and revenue. In terms of looking ahead, I'm going to continue to fight for implementation of the zone-based illegal dumping, including dedicated assigned crews, though I know you said you don't want us to talk too much about illegal dumping, and also to take action to make the banks open branches. We actually have laws on the books, though. Okay, sorry, was that time? I think that was time. To make the bank have branches in East Oakland. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Derek Johnson.
Well, it goes without saying, the project I'm most proud of is opening the restaurant in Jack London Square, where I've been able to provide jobs 100% for Oaklanders. I've always put Oakland first, and especially providing jobs for the Black and brown community. Those that are formerly incarcerated, my managers were both formerly incarcerated and now are property owners, are married, met their wives actually both at my, working at the restaurant. So that's the project that I'm most proud of. And it's not the profits from the restaurant, it's the profit from transforming the lives of my employees. I mean, nothing is more rewarding in my entire life than watching a young man come in with no hope, discouraged, and turn their life around and be a productive and working class and tax-paying citizen. The second project, which I'm actually working on right now, is called the Black Owned Projects. When I started when I was president of CalPAC. And it's to expose Black businesses and to network with each other, to make sure that we're buying and supporting each other with our products and services. And I'm going to partner with the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce. We're going to expand that program. We're about to, in the developmental stages right now, of really ramping it up. We had the Black business listings when I was coming up with Dr. Diane C. Howe, who's no longer with us. So it's kind of an extension of that, just more driven about supporting and buying, supporting each other in business and purchasing products and services for one another. When I get in this seat, I want to do the same. I want to make sure that Oaklanders are first. I'll be humble. There'll be no grandstanding. I'll make sure that I provide jobs for Oaklanders, and especially those in D7 and in our most vulnerable communities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now for the closing statement. Each candidate has a minute and a half for your closing statement. Nancy, can we hear from you first? Nancy?
Didn't hear you. Yes, again, I'm running for at large, and I want to represent the residents of Oakland. I'm not running and none of the people that have signed my papers or are backing me, they're all residents of Oakland. I don't have any big names out there to make it look like I've been bought and paid for. This is the thing that people need to understand. If we don't start changing City Hall and bringing it out to the people to run, we are going to continue to be in the mess that we're in. We have very poor leadership in the city, and the staff that have been here for years are retiring and leaving and going to other cities, and we are going to be in a bigger mess than we've ever been. The pandemic that we've had right now is not going to go away anytime soon. The fact that people can't pay rent and landlords can't pay the mortgages, we're going to have foreclosures and people out on the streets, and it's going to be a bigger mess next year. And nobody's talking about that and working on that to bring the banks and everybody to work with everybody. I mean, you've been able to hold us, the individuals, as giving us as examples and stuff, and the renters as examples. But the problem is the banks are the ones that are holding it over all our heads, and nobody has stopped them from collecting the mortgages and stuff. So that needs to be looked at when you're talking about where we're going. East Oakland is a beautiful, wonderful location, and we've got a lot of stuff to do here, but unfortunately, sit downtown has never paid that much attention out here. And we've lately not had the leadership to bring the attention that we desperately need. And that's one of the things that I
Patricia. Thank you. Derek Johnson.
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me this evening. And Ms. Green, I know she couldn't make this call. I don't know if she's on it, but it's just been a pleasure meeting and getting to know you. You know, as a son of Oakland, born and raised right here in this city, third generations. I have 5 generations living in this city right now. My grandmother is 97 years old, and the youngest is, I think, 2 months. So I have a concern, I have a passion, and my heart is nothing but Oakland. I am Oakland. I'm all over this city. I'm not just in Piedmont or Montclair or in D1. I'm in D7, I'm in D6, I'm in D3 where I'm from. And we need a leader right now that is going to engage the city, that's going to be responsive, that is going to show up, not just when it's time to take pictures or to ribbon cut or for an award. You need to show up in the hard times and get involved with our community. So if you want, homelessness to double again, like it's doubled in the past 2-3 years, if you want illegal dumping to just be dump, and more dump out in D7 and D3, then you stick with the same what's going on right now. If you want to change, then you elect me, because I'm going to make a change. I will be very, very upfront. Like Bishop Jackson said, Frank, his name should have been Frank, or my name should have been Frank Jr., because I'm definitely just 100% open, honest, and going to tell it just like it is. And I think we should be transparent with our policies. We should not be trying to pass things under the table and real quick because of COVID. We need to educate the public. We need to actually let the public know how these policies are going to impact the community, and we need to bring people together. I constantly hear about the administration this, the administration that. Well, if you have a good relationship with the administration, or at least a business relationship with the administration, and leave your egos and your biases at the door, we can get things done, because it's too much personality conflicts. And I'm about business, and I want to make sure that the city moves forward in a healthy environment, and especially in the Black community. Thank you for your time this evening, and it's very appreciative to be here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rebecca Kaplan.
Thank you so much for having me here, and for everything that you are doing and all of your work on this. I would be very honored to have your vote to continue to fight for Oakland and to improve the health and safety of our community. One particular thing I would love to ask for your support on, the city of Oakland is now conducting a disparity study. That was something we fought for funding in the budget, to analyze racial and gender disparities in city contracting. This is an opportunity to fight to make sure that the money goes equitably in our community. That's going to be coming to council shortly. I also wanted to encourage everyone this year, please consider voting early. There's a lot of concern about problems with the Postal Service. We have fought to have there be more ballot drop boxes, which are being installed, and also to have the Coliseum open as an early voting site, which it will be October 31st through November 3rd. Also on your November ballot, you'll see Oakland Measure S1 to provide transparent and independent oversight over police misconduct allegations so that we can build trust and accountability. So I encourage you to vote yes on S1, and Measure QQ, which will allow our youth age 16 and 17 to vote in local school board elections, which will help strengthen civic engagement and expand our democracy. I would look forward to continuing to work with you all, and thank you all so much for your time. I'd be honored to have your vote. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank all the at-large candidates for participating. And on behalf of the Elmhurst District Board, I'd like to thank everybody. And Gladys Green, Miss Green, I'm sure she's on the call. I see her there. So on behalf of Miss Green, I'd like to say thank you. I know she was calling everybody last night and this morning. So thank you everybody for participating, and we apologize for starting late. Thank you.
No problem. Have a good evening. Good night, everybody.
I do want to say something before you guys, before you leave the meeting tonight. Ms. Green was on the phone call with us. She was listening to all your statements and answers to our questions. But as I mentioned before on District 7 meeting, we would like to bring you guys back. I said the 15th, but knowing that it's only 35 more days to Election Day, no pressure. We would like to bring you back on the 9th. If you can please put that on your calendar, same time. And we'll have Ms. Green ask the questions directly, because she is a staple of our community as a whole, not only on District 7, but Oakland as a whole as well. She's been serving the community for many, many years, and I would love for her to talk to you and have a few words with you before Election Day. Thank you so much. Good night.
Have a nice evening. Good night. Bye-bye. Bye, Rebecca. Bye, Nancy.
Bye.
Night.